I never expected the message to come directly from the throne world, especially not addressed to me, a mere human liaison stationed on a distant diplomatic outpost. Human Ethan Hale, the sovereign Queen Vaelthra of the Azerian Dominion summons you to the Crystal Hall. Comply immediately. I read it 5 times, making sure I wasn't hallucinating. Queen Vaelthra, the most feared ruler in the known galaxy. The woman responsible for uniting 7 warring star empires into the Azerian Dominion. A legend wrapped in shimmering armor and sharper rumors. Entire fleets bowed to her voice. Planets trembled at her displeasure. And she wanted to see me? Me, an ordinary human diplomat with an unimpressive service record and a habit of ruining my own career by saying the wrong thing at the wrong time? My fellow diplomats stared at me as I packed my bag for the Star Cruiser. Ethan, what did you do? Ambassador Klein whispered. I wished I knew. The journey took 3 days, each hour tightening a knot in my stomach. The closer we got to the Dominion home system, the clearer it became why so many species feared them. The space around their throne world, Azerian Prime, glowed with lattices of energy, visible even against the black of the void. A living shield network. Thousands of ships patrolled in synchronized formations. The Azerian did not do subtle. When I stepped onto the planet's surface, it felt like stepping inside a cathedral built by gods. Bioluminescent trees arched overhead like stained glass. The air shimmered with floating crystals. The architecture glowed with a soft inner light, as if the whole civilization ran on magic instead of physics. Escorted by tall Azerian guards, I was marched through corridors big enough to fit star freighters, until at last, the Crystal Hall opened before us. It was impossible not to stop and stare. The hall was made entirely of translucent crystal, refracting the sunlight into 1,000 colors that danced across the floor like liquid rainbows. At the center stood a throne carved from the heart of a starstone, glowing with white fire. And sitting upon it was her, Queen Vaelthra. Her skin shimmered like silver-laced obsidian. Her eyes glowed faintly violet. Her hair, more like filament energy than keratin, floated weightlessly behind her. Her presence alone pressed down like gravity. I swallowed hard. She lifted her chin. Human Ethan Hale, she said. Her voice was smooth, crystalline, yet powerful enough that it seemed to echo right through my bones. Approach. My legs moved even though my brain wasn't sure it wanted them to. She studied me with an unreadable expression. You have been summoned because an answer must be given today, she said. One that millions may depend upon. Millions? Suddenly my tongue felt like lead. You come from a species known for chaos, impulsiveness, and inconvenient bravery, she continued. Humans have interfered in our affairs before. You, she added, interfered more than once. Ah, so this was about my incidents, not my best moments. The question is simple, the Queen said, leaning forward. Why should I trust you, human? Tell me why you deserve the trust of a queen. Her royal court fell silent. I did too, because I had no idea what to say. Middle, the test and the truth. My mind scrambled, searching for clever diplomacy, for rehearsed lines, for anything that didn't sound humiliatingly human. Your Majesty, I began carefully, I don't know that I deserve your trust. A murmur rippled through the hall, shock, disapproval, confusion. But the Queen's eye sharpened. You begin with honesty. Interesting. Continue. I inhaled deeply and forced myself to meet her glowing gaze. I'm not the strongest envoy, I said. Not the most qualified. There are diplomats with decades more experience than me. There are warriors and strategists far more capable. Her expression didn't change, so I kept going. But humans, we try. even when we shouldn't, even when it hurts, even when it's stupid. A faint, unreadable glimmer crossed her eyes. I stepped closer to the throne, just one step, but enough to draw gasps from her court. I don't know if I deserve your trust, I said, but I'll tell you why I want it. The room seemed to lean in. Because I've seen what happens when species don't trust one another. I grew up in the aftermath of Earth's unification war. I watched what distrust can do to families, to whole planets. And if there's even a chance that I can help build something better, even a tiny part of it, I'll do anything to make that chance real. The Queen did not speak. She simply watched. So I pushed on. That's why humans take risks. Not because we're reckless, I said, but because we want things to get better. We want connection. We want meaning. We want to prove that even little people like me can make a big difference. Silence returned, heavy as a collapsing star. Finally, the Queen rose. And suddenly she was right in front of me. She moved like light itself, silent, graceful, terrifying. She studied my face from inches away. I could feel the warmth radiating off her skin, the faint hum of energy in the air around her. You speak not with ambition, she said softly, not with fear, but with purpose. Her voice lowered. Is your purpose true? Yes, I said without hesitation. She reached out, one hand, elegant and glowing like a shard of moonlight. Her fingers brushed my cheek. I froze. Her eyes narrowed, examining something I couldn't see. You do not lie, she murmured. Your fear is real, but so is your conviction. Remarkable. She stepped back. Very well, human Ethan Hale. I accept your answer. The court exploded into whispers. But the Queen wasn't finished. You wish to prove that small voices can change the galaxy, she said. You will now have the chance. My heart skipped. What do you mean? She gestured, and one of the guards stepped forward carrying a crystal sphere pulsing with inner light. This, she said, is a resonance seed. It contains encoded diplomatic protocols, battlefield contingencies, and classified histories of the Dominion. It has never been entrusted to an off-world. My stomach dropped. You will carry it, she continued, and you will represent the Dominion in the coming negotiations with the Hellion Accord. I nearly choked. The Hellion Accord was one of the most powerful alliances in the galaxy, and one of the Dominion's bitter rivals. Me? Yes, the Queen said simply. I stood there in stunned silence as she descended the final step of her throne, and for the first time, I saw her up close without the overwhelming aura of royalty. She was still intimidating, still breathtaking, but she was also vulnerable in a way. Human, she said quietly. Our people have made war for centuries. This galaxy stands on the edge of a blade. The next few months will determine whether it falls into peace or into annihilation. Her voice lowered even more. I ask again, why do you deserve my trust? But this time, she whispered, I ask not as a queen, but as someone who has lost far too much. That hit deeper than any diplomatic question ever could. So I gave her the real answer. Not the careful one. Not the rehearsed one, the human one, because I said, I'm scared too, but I still want to try. Her eyes widened, and then, slowly, barely, she smiled, and it changed her face entirely, softened it, warmed it, made her look almost human. Her court gasped. Some knelt, some stared in disbelief. The Queen of the Dominion had not smiled in a decade, according to every rumor I'd ever heard. But she smiled at me. Then let us try together, she said. Middle, the mission. The following days were chaos. I was assigned a diplomatic starship, given a crash course in Dominion protocols. trained in multi-species negotiation techniques. And everywhere I went, Dominion officials watched me with a mix of suspicion, curiosity, and strange hope. At night, I replayed the moment the Queen smiled, in disbelief. My instructor, Commander Railcorps, finally snapped at me. "You must stop thinking about it." "I'm not thinking about anything. You're thinking about it constantly. You humans glow emotionally. It is very distracting." I groaned. The Hellion Accord talks were dangerous. They had accused the Dominion of border violations and demanded reparations. The Dominion denied everything and prepared for war. War that could wipe out entire star clusters. And now I, a human who couldn't keep his shirts unwrinkled, was supposed to stop it. Finally, we arrived at the Hellion Citadel, a massive structure suspended in orbit around a blue dwarf star. Inside, ambassadors from dozens of species gathered. The moment the Dominion insignia was projected behind me, the entire chamber erupted in murmurs. "Who is this human? They send a child? This must be an insult." Great start. I cleared my throat. "I come on behalf of Queen Valthera," I announced. "She entrusts me with the full authority of the Dominion for these talks." That quieted them. Shock could be very effective. The negotiations were brutal. Accusations flew. Threats simmered under every sentence. Hours turned into days. Days into a week. I slept barely 3 hours a night. But slowly, very slowly, something changed. I started to understand the deeper fears behind each species' rage. I listened. I acknowledged. I asked questions no Dominion envoy had ever bothered asking. The Hellion representatives began to soften. One even laughed at one of my sarcastic comments. By the 7th day, I felt like things might actually work. But everything shattered on day 8. A Hellion extremist cell bombed the docking ring, then claimed the Dominion had done it. War seemed inevitable. The chamber erupted into chaos. And in that chaos, my communicator crackled. Human Ethan Hale. It was her. The Queen. Report. My voice shook. An attack occurred. "They think it was you." A long silence. Then, "Ethan," she said, and the way she said my name nearly made my heart stop. "What do you believe?" I didn't hesitate. "I believe you didn't do it." Another long silence. This one felt heavier. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft. "Why?" "Because you trusted me," I said. "And I'm trusting you back." There was the faintest exhale, almost a sigh of relief. "Hold the chamber," she said. "I am coming." Coming? Coming here? But she had already cut the transmission. Ending. The answer that changed everything. When the Queen of the Dominion enters a place, you feel it before you see it. The lights dim. The air vibrates. People fall silent. She stepped into the chamber, her armor glowing with soft violet lines. Every Hellion ambassador froze. She walked directly to me. "Human Ethan Hale," she said. "You gave your trust. Now I give mine." She turned to the assembly. "My Dominion did not attack your station. We offer full cooperation to identify the true culprits, and we will place our forces under joint command for the investigation." Stunned gasps. One Hellion ambassador whispered, "She yields?" I stepped beside her and spoke before fear could stop me. "If the Dominion wanted war, you'd already be ash," I said. "They don't want blood. They want peace." A dangerous silence fell. Then the Hellion High Speaker leaned forward. "What guarantee do we have," she asked, "that this human speaks truth?" The Queen turned to me. And then, before the entire assembly, she placed her hand on my shoulder. A royal gesture of unity. A gesture no non-Dominion had ever received. "Because," she said, loud enough for all to hear, "I trust him." The chamber erupted. Not in outrage, not in fear, but in breakthrough. The extremists were quickly identified and captured. The Dominion and the Hellion Accord signed a mutual peace treaty. The galaxy stepped back from the brink. And weeks later, back in the Crystal Hall, I found myself standing before Queen Vaelthera once more. She regarded me with that same unreadable expression. "You have done as you promised," she said. "You helped build something better." I swallowed. "I didn't do it alone." "No," she said softly, "but you did what no envoy of mine could." She stepped closer. "So tell me again, human," she murmured, "why you deserved my trust." I smiled. "Because sometimes," I said, "all the galaxy needs is someone willing to stand in the fire without running." Her lips curved again into that rare, astonishing smile. "Then stand with me, Ethan," she said, "for there is much more to build." And in that moment I understood. My answer didn't just change everything. It changed her. And maybe